Grief eating, how comfort foods could be worsening your diabetes and hypertension. Hey there folks, we all know food is more than just fuel for our bodies. It's about emotions. Think about it, your grandma's apple pie, your dad's famous barbecue ribs. These foods aren't just delicious, they're a trip down memory lane. They make us feel warm and fuzzy inside. That's because comfort foods, as we call them, trigger the release of endorphins. Endorphins are like natural mood boosters. But hey, listen up. While these foods can offer temporary comfort, they often come loaded with sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats. Being mindful of what we eat, especially during tough times, is crucial. Life throws curveballs. We lose loved ones, relationships end, jobs disappear. It's tough stuff, and it's natural to seek comfort wherever we can find it. Food for many becomes a crutch. It's always there for you, no questions asked. When we're grieving, our bodies are flooded with stress hormones like cortisol. Cortisol messes with our sleep, moods, and appetite. It's like your body goes into survival mode, craving sugary, fatty foods. But these days, we're not exactly facing those kinds of threats. So, that extra sugar and fat just end up sticking to our waistlines and wreaking havoc on our health. Grief can also mess with our serotonin levels. Serotonin is like our body's own feel-good chemical. When we're grieving, those levels take a nosedive, leaving us feeling down and craving foods that give us a temporary serotonin boost. Chocolate, ice cream, even that big plate of pasta. They all trigger a release of serotonin. But folks, it's a temporary fix, a band-aid on a much deeper wound. Grief is a stressor, a major one at that. And just like any other stressor, it triggers a cascade of physiological responses in our bodies. Our heart rate increases, our blood pressure goes up, and our bodies release a surge of adrenaline. But here's the thing, the danger in this case isn't a physical threat, it's an emotional one. And unfortunately, our bodies don't always know the difference. So we're left dealing with all these physical symptoms of stress, even though the root cause is emotional pain. And what do we do when we're stressed? We reach for comfort, and for many of us, that comfort comes in the form of food. It's a vicious cycle, my friends. Grief leads to stress, stress leads to cravings. Cravings lead to unhealthy eating, and unhealthy eating just makes everything worse in the long run. Now let's talk about those comfort foods for a second. You know the ones I'm talking about, the mac and cheese, the fried chicken, the mashed potatoes swimming in butter. Delicious? Sure. Good for you? Not so much. These foods are loaded with saturated fats, trans fats, and simple carbohydrates. They send our blood sugar levels soaring only to come crashing down a little while later, leaving us feeling even more tired and sluggish than before. And for those of you with diabetes, these blood sugar spikes can be dangerous, even life-threatening. They can lead to complications like nerve damage, vision problems, and even heart disease. And if you're dealing with hypertension, all that extra sodium in those processed comfort foods is like throwing gasoline on a fire. So, you see folks, while those comfort foods might seem like a good idea in the moment, they're actually doing more harm than good. Alright folks, let's break this down. You're feeling down, maybe you lost someone you love and you reach for a big bowl of ice cream. It's cold, it's creamy. It reminds you of good times, maybe simpler times, but here's what's going on inside your body. That sugar, it hits your bloodstream fast, like a racehorse out the gate. Your pancreas, it's got to work overtime to produce insulin, the hormone that helps your cells absorb all that glucose. Now for someone without diabetes, this might not be a huge deal. Your body handles it. But for someone with diabetes, especially type 2, this sugar rush is like throwing a wrench in the works. See, with type 2 diabetes, your body either doesn't make enough insulin or it can't use it effectively, what we call insulin resistance. So all that sugar in your bloodstream, it builds up. It's like a traffic jam in your arteries. Over time, this can damage your blood vessels, leading to heart problems, vision problems, even nerve damage. Now let's talk about hypertension, high blood pressure, a silent killer, folks. You might not even know you have it. But those comfort foods, they're often loaded with sodium, hidden in all sorts of processed goodies. Chips, canned soups, frozen dinners, even bread, they can be salt mines. And here's the deal with sodium. It makes your body hold onto water. More water in your blood vessels means higher pressure against the artery walls. It's like trying to force a garden hose through a straw. It ain't gonna end well. Over time, that constant high pressure, it damages your arteries, making them stiff and narrow. This forces your heart to work harder, like a car engine straining to climb a hill. Eventually, this can lead to heart attack, stroke, kidney problems, you name it. Listen up, this is important. Those comfort foods, they might seem harmless, but they can fuel inflammation throughout your body. See, a lot of these processed foods, they're full of unhealthy fats, like trans fats and saturated fats. You find them in fried foods, baked goods, processed meats, you name it. Now, your body needs some fat, it's essential. But these bad fats, they trigger inflammation, like little fires burning throughout your body. And over time, this chronic inflammation, it damages your cells, your tissues, your organs. And guess what? Diabetes and hypertension, they're both linked to inflammation. So when you're constantly reaching for those comfort foods, you're basically adding fuel to the fire, making these conditions worse. Let's be real. Comfort eating often leads to weight gain. And carrying around extra pounds, it's tough on your body, especially if you're dealing with diabetes or hypertension. See, excess weight, it increases your risk of developing insulin resistance, the hallmark of type 2 diabetes. It's like your cells are becoming numb to the effects of insulin. So your pancreas has to pump out even more to get the job done. It's exhausting for your body, and it's a recipe for trouble. And for hypertension, well, those extra pounds, they put a strain on your heart. Your heart has to work harder to pump blood throughout your body, which can raise your blood pressure. And here's the kicker. Weight gain itself can also contribute to inflammation, which, as we talked about, can worsen both diabetes and hypertension. So, managing your weight, it's not just about fitting into your genes, it's about protecting your health. Now, I'm not just spinning yarns here, folks. There's hard science backing this up. Researchers, they've been studying this link between comfort food, grief, and chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension. And the results? Well, they're pretty eye-opening. One study found that people who ate a diet high in ultra-processed foods had a 67% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who ate a diet rich in whole, unprocessed foods. That's huge, folks. And it's not just diabetes. Another study showed that people who consumed high amounts of sodium had a significantly higher risk of developing high blood pressure, even if they were otherwise healthy. So this ain't just about genetics or bad luck, folks. It's about the choices we make, especially during times of stress and grief. And here's the thing. This ain't just an American problem. This is a global epidemic. The World Health Organization, they're calling it a slow-motion disaster. They estimate that over 422 million adults worldwide have diabetes, and that number is expected to skyrocket in the coming years. And guess what's a major contributor to this rise in diabetes? Yep, you got it. Unhealthy diets, often fueled by emotional eating and those readily available processed comfort foods. And it's not just diabetes. Hypertension is also on the rise globally, affecting over 1.28 billion adults. Now, let's zoom in on diabetes for a second. See, when you have diabetes, your body has trouble regulating blood sugar levels. And those comfort foods, those sugary drinks, those refined carbs, they send your blood sugar soaring, putting extra stress on your already overworked pancreas. Over time, this constant roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes can damage your blood vessels and nerves, leading to serious complications like heart disease, kidney disease, vision problems, and even amputations. And here's the thing. Grief, it can actually worsen these complications. See, when you're grieving, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol. And cortisol, it can actually interfere with the way your body uses insulin, making it even harder to manage your blood sugar levels. Now, let's talk about hypertension, or high blood pressure as we call it. It's a silent killer, folks, often with no symptoms until it's too late. And those comfort foods, they can be loaded with sodium, a major culprit in raising blood pressure. See, sodium, it makes your body hold on to water. And all that extra fluid in your bloodstream, it puts pressure on your artery walls, like a fire hose trying to squeeze through a garden hose. Over time, this constant pressure can damage your arteries, making them stiff and narrow. This forces your heart to work harder to pump blood throughout your body, leading to a whole host of health problems, like heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, and even vision problems. And just like with diabetes, grief can make matters worse for folks with hypertension. Stress hormones like cortisol, they can cause your blood vessels to constrict, further increasing your blood pressure. All right, folks, I get it. You're grieving, you're stressed, you're reaching for that familiar comfort food. It's like a warm blanket on a cold night. But what if I told you that you could find comfort in foods that actually nourish your body, foods that help you heal instead of hurting you? It's time to trade up your comfort zone, folks, to find healthier alternatives that satisfy your cravings without wreaking havoc on your blood sugar and blood pressure. And trust me, it's easier than you think. It's all about making small, sustainable changes, one step at a time. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a healthy lifestyle. So, let's ditch the guilt, the deprivation, the all-or-nothing mentality. Now, When that sugar craving hits, you don't have to reach for the processed junk. Mother Nature, she's got your back. Fruit, folks, it's nature's candy. It's sweet, it's juicy, it's packed with vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Fiber, that's the good stuff that slows down sugar absorption, preventing those blood sugar spikes that can send you on a roller coaster ride. Think about it. A handful of berries instead of a candy bar. A sliced apple with a dollop of almond butter instead of a cookie. A bowl of mixed fruit with a sprinkle of cinnamon instead of that sugary cereal. See? Easy swaps, big difference. Crunchy and satisfying, the power of produce. Now let's talk about those salty, crunchy cravings. Instead of reaching for the chips and pretzels, load up on veggies. Veggies, they're like nature's chips, folks. They're crunchy, they're satisfying, and they're packed with nutrients that can actually help lower blood pressure. Think about it. Carrot sticks and hummus instead of potato chips. Celery with peanut butter instead of crackers. Bell pepper slices with guacamole instead of nachos, see? You're getting that satisfying crunch without all the sodium and unhealthy fats. And here's a bonus tip. Roasting veggies brings out their natural sweetness. Try tossing broccoli florets, Brussels sprouts, or sweet potatoes with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper, and roast them in the oven until they're tender and slightly caramelized. You'll be amazed at how delicious healthy eating can be. Mindful munching. It's not just what you eat, but how you eat it. Now, here's the thing, folks. Comfort eating. It's often about more than just the food itself. It's about finding solace, distraction, or a sense of control during difficult times. So when you do reach for a snack, even a healthy one, practice mindful eating. That means slowing down, paying attention to your food, and savoring each bite. Put away the distractions, the phone, the TV, the laptop. Sit down at the table, take a deep breath, and really focus on the taste, the texture, the aroma of your food. This helps you become more aware of your hunger and fullness cues, so you're less likely to overeat. And it allows you to truly enjoy your food, making it more satisfying and comforting. Remember, folks, food is meant to be enjoyed, not just mindlessly consumed. The takeaway. Listen up, folks. We've covered a lot of ground here today. We talked about the emotional connection we have with food, how grief can drive us to seek comfort in all the wrong places, and how those comfort foods, as tempting as they may be, can actually worsen conditions like diabetes and hypertension. But here's the good news. We don't have to be prisoners of our cravings. We have the power to make different choices, to find comfort in foods that nourish our bodies and support our overall well-being. It's about breaking free from that vicious cycle of emotional eating and replacing it with a healthier, more sustainable approach to food. Remember, it's not about perfection, folks. It's about progress, about making small, gradual changes that you can stick with over time. So ditch the guilt, the deprivation, the all-or-nothing mentality. This is about giving yourself permission to enjoy food, to find comfort and pleasure in eating, without sacrificing your health in the process. You got this. Listen, I know it's not easy. Grief, it's a powerful emotion. It can cloud our judgment, make us reach for that quick fix, even when we know it's not good for us. But you're stronger than you think, folks. You've got this. Reach out to your support system, your family, your friends, your healthcare provider. Don't be afraid to ask for help, to talk about what you're going through. Remember, you're not alone in this. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can with the tools you have. Every small step you take towards a healthier lifestyle, it's a victory. So, celebrate those victories, no matter how small they may seem. You're worth it. Please don't forget to like and share. Also subscribe to my video.